Welcome to Toronto Talk Sports and More, episode number 7. We're recording today, Monday, May 14th. It's Zion Hezekiah, a.k.a. Hez, alongside my co-hosts, Milan, Sonegra, a.k.a. Milo, and Courtney, Scarlett, a.k.a. Courtz. Fellas, what's good?
What's up, Hez?
What's up, guys?
Yes. So, guys, what's new and exciting? How was the weekend?
Oh, weekend was great. It was hotter outside than the Raptors coaching search right now. Eh? I mean, things are heating up, guys. Great Mother's Day weekend as well. Went out, had some good food, enjoyed the weather. Just a fantastic weekend.
What'd you eat?
A little Indian food, a little Italian
little
food.
Butter chicken?
Yeah, I got to mix it up a little. Chana masala, right?
Some chana masala.
And I get on me about that. But yeah, it was great just to get out and enjoy the weather and enjoy the sunshine.
Awesome.
Spend some time with the fam as well.
Nice.
What about you, Courtz?
Oh, yeah, it was a busy weekend. It was my baby girl's second birthday.
Indeed it was.
I was going
nice.
to give her a quick shout out. So happy birthday, Serafina.
Serafina Jade.
Yeah, so we had a birthday party for her on Sunday, and it was actually your son's 4th birthday.
Indeed it was. So we had a joint party. Happy birthday to Judah, my last child, my 4th seed, as I like to call him.
Last and only?
The Omega. Yeah, he's the end. He's the last. He's the last.
It was also our brother's birthday yesterday
Yes,
as well.
our older brother as well, who shares a
goodness.
birthday with...
Apparently,
with my
we don't
son.
like to space things out in our family.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Let me just break it down to the audience. So full disclosure here. So I have 2 sons. So my oldest son shares the same birthday with Courtz here, my younger brother. And my youngest son shares a birthday with my older brother. So it's kind of crazy the way the dynamics. And there's a whole bunch of other little similarities. In the
September
family,
was a
but-
popular month, to get going. And
Well,
popped out in May, right?
it was our parents' birthday.
Somebody's real quick there with the math.
I have to do a little bit in my head right there, man.
But speaking of birthdays, guys, on behalf of the whole team here at Toronto Talk Sports and More, we would like to wish a very, very, and I mean very, very happy birthday to our very own awesome, wonderful, beautiful sound engineer, Paula. Happy birthday,
birthday,
Paula.
birthday.
And it goes like this.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Paula. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Paul.
So I hope we're not destroying your earbuds and your sensitivities.
She's blushing, though.
Yes, I wish we could catch that blush on camera. But yes, Paula is our wonderful sound engineer. She's the one that edits all of our files, makes us sound good. Sometimes it takes even hours to, cut things out, piece certain things together. So we really appreciate all your work. So thank you very much, Paula from Dyco.
Thank you, Paul.
Awesome. Happy birthday. So guys, we got a big show today, a very, very special show today. What's on the slate? Our main segment, we're going to be discussing the Dwane Casey firing. So that's huge. Obviously, big news in Toronto and all across the NBA, the sports world as a whole. In addition to that, we'll discuss what other changes the Raptors need to make moving forward. We're very happy today to welcome 3 guests in studio who are all very, very huge ball fans and want to get in on the conversation with what's happening in the NBA. So we'll welcome them in a bit. We'll be doing an MLB preview, so discussing some baseball. We'll do an NHL playoff update, see what's going on in the world of hockey. And then after that, we'll discuss the NBA Eastern and Western Conference Finals. So it should be a dandy. We've got a lot to do. Let's get it done. Toronto Talk Sports and more. Hez back here alongside Milo for some Raptor Talk. And we're very pleased to be joined by 3 passionate and fired up ball fans. We've got a packed house today. Gentlemen, welcome to Toronto Talk Sports and More. Please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the invite to come down here and talk ball. My name is Greg. Normally people call me GT. Currently, I coach high school basketball at Milliken Mills in the Markham District. We got a pretty good season. Looking forward to next year. Looking forward to this show with a couple of my boys from back in our days. So it should be good.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Well, it's me, Wendell, the brown skin assassin, shooting never passing, a.k.a. the Bishop.
Yes, the Bishop
All
is
the way
in the
from
building.
Oakwood Collegiate. And we're here now and looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. I don't agree with none of you, right?
Bring it. Awesome. Welcome to the show, Bishop.
And this is Craig, and Pisces like eating Chinese food in the rain.
Lord, have
Just
mercy.
don't listen to anything these guys say, man. Looking forward to this, and looking forward to chatting some hoops.
All right, guys, so let's talk some ball. So last Friday, May the 11th, around about 11 a.m.
A dark day in Raptor
Oh,
history.
yes. The news broke that after 7 seasons, Dwane Casey was relieved of his coaching duties for the Toronto Raptors shortly after getting swept by LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers once again. So a few quick notes on Dwane Casey. He, as most of us know, he was the 8th coach in Raptors history. He had an all-time record of 320 wins, 238 losses, so 57% winning percentage, not bad at all. He led the Raptors to their only 3 50-win seasons in franchise history, 4 division titles, 5 consecutive trips to the postseason. He was the longest tenured coach in team history, also the winningest coach in team history. This year, they set a franchise record of 59 wins, earning the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And after all that, once again, being swept by the Cavs, he was let go by the organization. Guys, first off, what was your initial thought when you heard the news? When the news broke, what initially went through your mind?
Oh, man, I knew it was going to happen. It's easy to see. We talked about it lots. You can't get swept 3 years in a row. You know, his time has come. He couldn't push us no further. We expected it. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to the change. Looking forward to see what happens next year with the Raptors.
Preach, Gregory.
I don't see too much, unfortunately. We don't have draft picks and not much we can do.
So it
with a
didn't
lot
catch
of
you off
people.
guard at all? You were just like,
Off guard? No, I thought it came 2.5 seasons too late.
oh, wow,
Man.
okay.
Oh, man. You know what? All I can say about we got to give an allegory. Imagine, ladies, imagine this. Imagine you find this man in the gutter. He got jacked up teeth. He overweight. He got
getting
nowhere to live.
Wow.
You get him a dental plan. You lose some weight. You put him in your house. After put him in your house, you know he advances. He gets a good job, and then all of a sudden,
You get swept by the Cavs.
Thank you for sharing your personal journey, Bishop.
Bishop's autobiography we're talking about. What is going on?
listen.
man?
They cut that man after the man took this team to the best record.
So you're saying they did him
teams ever
dirty?
had. Absolutely, they did him dirty. What's the Raptors going to do? What are they going to do about LeBron James? They can't do nothing about that.
Dwayne Casey couldn't do anything about
Casey
that.
Casey don't score baskets. Casey don't grab rebounds.
He
Let's
makes
talk
up the
about
offensive and defensive schemes for the team to run each and every
All
game.
right, so
Ain't block a shot.
guys, let's get into all that in a second. Craig, what was your initial reaction? The news broke. What was the first thing that kind of went through your head?
Well, after I stopped somersaulting, I think everything calmed down. 'Cause,
Celebration.
no, I'm like Greg. I mean,
you wearing
it's
leotard?
like it's like every once in a while you got to open your fridge and clean it out, right?
Okay.
But if you look on the fridge, sometimes the milk carton looks good, but it's not till you check the expiration date and you say this milk's sour. Casey was a sour box of milk that they should have let him go 2 years ago.
We're getting deep with the analogies
Right?
today.
Because what
Milo.
we're talking, like, we're literally praising this guy for, his regular season record.
why does Pop still have a job then?
Why does Pop?
Why
Because
does
how many
Pop still
rings
have a
does he
job?
have? Because he has a track record. You can't be a loser and then
boy.
and
How
be
is
celebrated
Casey
for
a
losing.
loser?
He's a
He
loser.
just
He has a
identified the man's
He's a
track
playoff
record.
Tell me his playoff record. He has a losing playoff record.
Against
Is
who?
Dwayne Casey's got the most
LeBron
wins.
James.
Probably
He got
has the most
swept by the
losses as
Washington
well, I would think,
Wizards.
right?
He got swept by the Washington Wizards. LeBron wasn't playing for them.
He got beat by Paul Pierce.
So Milo, what about you? What were your thoughts?
I think I'd have
Team
to.
got beat by one player again.
I'd have
what
to agree that I think it's time for a change. I was initially shocked that it happened, but it wasn't that I wasn't expecting it. I think it was natural for it to happen, right? I mean, you get swept 2 years in a row, lose to the same team 3 years in a row, the same guy. I think it's time to bring in some fresh blood and a new voice.
So Bishop, obviously you're opposed to the move. So explain to us, give us a little bit more in terms of
it's the
why you think it was a bad move.
It's the inconsistency with the Toronto fan base.
Okay.
That we are fickle. We have no loyalty. We have no mindset of a longevity or building a legacy with a team. We want immediate results right now.
We didn't trust the process.
It didn't trust the process. If you look forward in time, and we will look back at this date and say, how could these guys have beaten LeBron James? We're dealing with an iconic
Right.
player who he's the Mount Rushmore of this era. How can you get past him and blame Dwane Casey? He's a scapegoat, and the city of Toronto has to realize you got to stick with what works.
Let me ask you this question,
AKA
Bishop.
Vince Carter.
If and one of you guys, I think it was you, Bishop, brought up Greg Popovich. if Greg Popovich was the coach of the Toronto Raptors, how many games would they have won against the Cavs? Would they have gotten swept?
If LeBron,
No.
with LeBron
Popovich
James playing,
was coaching.
absolutely they
He's
would.
not getting swept.
So they still would have gotten swept.
Possible way.
Absolutely.
The Pacers didn't get swept.
Regardless,
Celtics aren't getting
regardless
swept.
of coach, anybody against that team, that roster, any coach would have gotten swept. That's basically your position.
I'm saying that with this roster, you can only roll the dice. You can only roll what you have. We have two dominant players who've been dominant for years. We played what we
Dominant?
have.
Who's
He
dominant?
changed the
Are they
entire.
dominant in the postseason?
They're two all-stars. We have two all-stars on our team. Hello.
How many points did they score?
We have two all-stars.
Sweet.
We played a 10-man roster. So
How many points did they score in the sweep?
So that's the coach's
LeBron
fault.
scored the same.
He scored like 2 points less than
It's the same.
Lowry and Brereton.
His whole stats were the same as our two best players.
I agree with you. So why are you blaming Dwane Casey? Why don't
Can you
blame
get a LeBron on the Raptors?
where?
Exactly.
You'll have to
So
invent
who
him in
are
a
you gonna-
laboratory.
Who are you going to change then? You're going to
can't.
keep everything the same?
You keep everything the same. You got a 60-win team.
Is that what the teams did before they beat the bad boys and took their dynasty away?
In the words-
before they beat the Lakers and took their dynasty away?
of the great Charles Oakley?
They changed their coaches and the coaches tinkered. They moved. They did little changes here, and voila,
In the
they're
words
no
of
longer
Charles
the bad
Oakley,
boys.
If it's not
they're
broke,
no longer the Lakers.
don't break it.
I would
was
say
broke.
it
60
was
wins, 59.
It was
It's basically a 60-win team. We threw away the coach. We
what do
threw away the
you
coach of the
think?
year of a 60-win team. Threw him
We
away.
did it before.
Well, what we have is low expectation. Now, Bishop is a man of the cloth, so I understand it, the undying faith. I'm very impressed by it. What Bishop is doing is walking on water. Because at the end of the day, Coach Casey stood in front of the fans and said, the goal is to compete for a championship.
Exactly.
Does anybody think if a piano fell on LeBron's head and the Raptors got to the finals, do they have any chance of competing for a championship with this team? No.
Based on the coach?
But based on the coach,
personnel.
we'll deal with personnel as well. But as you mentioned, they have two all-stars. I don't see two all-stars on the Celtics who just beat them by 25 points. I don't see two all-stars on the Pacers who just before that took their first game from them and took them to 7 games.
And
It's not losing isn't the issue. Getting your ass beat up is the issue.
Yep.
You're going into a sweep, and I'm like, nobody's giving a hard foul.
Yeah.
Like
Especially
nobody.
how
I grew up with that.
Yeah.
You're getting beat 4 games in a row. Your third sweep in a row.
Especially
and
how they
nobody's
lost
going down
game
fighting.
1 and game 3.
That's it.
And that was-
it's just
Milo?
that to me.
That was going to
is
be
bad.
my point. Is that on the Pacers you have a guy like Lance Stevenson blowing in LeBron's ear or roughing him up a little bit. On the Celtics you have a Marcus Morris, you have a Marcus Smart that can get into LeBron.
Who's that guy on the Raptors?
Yeah,
You're
we're
blaming the
so-
wrong guy. The guy whose throat should be cut his name is Masai Ujiri.
Why is that?
That's the guy whose throat should be cut.
Why? What did he
Because
do?
Danny Ainge is bringing in thugs.
Yeah.
He's bringing in Mark Heath to rough up LeBron. He's bringing in individuals to put a team together that can handle this Eastern Conference and deal with LeBron. You've got so many pieces
Right.
on that Boston team. Real pieces. Yes, they are not super all-stars, but they are great pieces. We're not doing that. We built a team out of couple of mindsets. Colangelo's mindset was he wanted to build a European franchise.
Yeah.
And now we have Masai Ujiri, who believes that guys like Bruno Cabalco is the future of the Raptors, and Fred VanVleet.
Right.
And so you give that now to Casey, and you say, Casey, here, take these band of misfits
Right.
and go out there and beat the best guy, almost the best guy of the generation.
wasn't-
It's not happening.
Danny Ainge also brought in a guy like Brad Stevens. And I think if we had Brad Stevens as our coach,
Oh, yeah, the equipment guy.
hey, look,
The
he
stati-
looks
the
like an
stat-
equipment
the-
guy.
The statistician.
Absolutely,
You
but
want
you
a
can't-
statistician to coach? Where did Brad Stevens go to high school? Where did Brad Stevens play in college?
But Brad Stevens
He also
is
took a Butler
beating up
team,
LeBron
too.
without his two best players.
Yeah.
Brad Stevens ain't doing jack. He's sitting on the bench like every
But
other
it's
coach
his,
in the NBA.
it's his offensive schemes,
Yeah.
his defensive schemes, and his in-game decision and changes.
Right.
So Bishop, do you
Which
acknowledge
Casey
though,
can't do.
that Dwane Casey, or let's just say the Raptors, obviously led by Dwane Casey, underperformed, underdelivered in the playoffs when it counted? I mean, yes, you're right,
Absolutely. And Casey made a few mistakes that I would identify as being things. I do not agree with
but they weren't fireable offenses in your opinion.
I don't think sitting you sit your best player down in the fourth quarter of a game and play
quarter.
at third and fourth.
2 minutes left on the third.
and
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
and,
the
play-
last
and
14
played
minutes.
Fred VanVleet. Now, that is something that I need to have a conversation with you about.
The same guy
So,
who missed 2
I
winning
actually-
shots
Right, but
in a row.
Yeah, I actually got a little bit of inside information from a Raptors source where between games 2 and 3, DeMar DeRozan actually flew to Los Angeles.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Toronto Talk
He
Sports.
actually flew to Los Angeles and asked Coach Casey if he can move the shoot around from morning to evening.
Wow.
And Coach Casey, well, DeMar's having some personal issues with his wife, well, ex-wife now, wanted to go see his kids, and his father is also very sick. So he actually flew in between games 2 and 3 to Los Angeles, asked Casey to move shoot around to in the evening. Casey obliged, did not tell Masai Ujiri about this. And after game 3, or it was either halftime or after game 3, Ujiri blasted Dwane Casey about it. Now, another thing was
That
that
doesn't
They did,
explain the
have
benching.
they did something
doesn't
else with
explain
just
the benching.
they
But I want to hear
forgot
the
shoot
rest.
around
Yeah.
and had some film session and
Yeah.
popcorn and Sony PlayStation instead of going on the court and practicing after a loss. That's
Yeah.
that's your coach's
there was
decision.
also the
You don't
Kyle Lowry
practice in
situation
the
when he went to
playoffs.
Villanova to watch the NCAA final game, where Casey did oblige and told Masai Ujiri about that. Casey
Guys,
Ujiri was
this
okay
is
with
not
it.
a high. This is not AAU ball. These guys are
doesn't matter.
grown men.
You can't have
Getting
them flying
paid
across the
millions of
country.
dollars.
Who's going to tell
You're on
me
East
to, I
Coast to
can't
West
fly
Coast.
back to
You
see
can't do
my
that.
baby mama?
Well,
Remember
there are
Vince
teams-
Carter?
Leaving to LA is a
Right?
tough flight. though.
Dwane Casey can't tell me that I can't go to my college. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it, Dwane? I'm an all-star. Put me on the doggone
Not
floor.
between games
My
two and three.
issue.
That's not
Jordan,
true.
Jordan,
You're under
used to go
contract,
to,
my
Jordan
friend.
used to have to go to Vegas and get Rodman out of casino in the morning between games.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
Jordan went. Phil didn't go. My issue is with guys like DeRozan who say, "Yo, put me in the game." Why is Fred? No, put me in the game. Afterward, I would have been at the press conference saying I wanted to be in the game.
Absolutely.
But I didn't hear that from those
No.
guys.
Right.
So-
right.
But
so I
that,
can't
that
pass
is
the
the
buck
team.
to
That is
Dwane.
what
He's
it
a
is.
scapegoat.
What this is, this team reflects Casey.
Scapegoat.
He's a wonderful guy. He's a nice guy.
Defensive-
Indeed, love him to date
defensive
my
coach.
sister and stuff.
Hold on.
He's
How
never
is-
been a defensive coach.
How is he a
But can't
defensive coach and he loses every
He
fourth
loses
quarter?
it. He can't. He's not a defensive
Tell us a little more about your
Nobody's.
sister. No, just kidding. Yeah.
You can't be a defensive coach and lose every
Yeah,
fourth quarter.
what they have is these guys are nice guys because if I'm DeRozan, I'm
Yes.
throwing something at the
I
press
agree.
conference,
I
and
agree.
that reflects Casey.
But it
Masai Ujiri, remember against Brooklyn, this is the guy who stood up in front of the Raptor fans,
F Brooklyn.
and F Brooklyn. That's Masai Ujiri. These aren't his players. None of these guys are that guy.
They don't take on that personnel or
Well,
attitude
the
of
three
Masai.
top players
Yeah,
came
he didn't
before
draft
he
them.
came.
He didn't
doesn't-
draft
this-
them.
They don't reflect him.
Right, he didn't draft
needs
them.
some
Yeah.
thugs. He wants some thugs on his team.
And he hasn't had
He
he hasn't had the availability to
Absolutely.
do it with the current contracts and things.
But he let Casey go for 5 years because that was his
And,
get out of
and
jail
guess what he
free
is now?
card.
He's a player. He's a coach of the year. So he wasn't wrong about that decision.
Okay, he's a coach's peers coach
wouldn't
of the
have got my
year.
vote?
And Brad Stevens didn't get one of those votes from
Unanimous.
any of those.
Unanimous.
Ridiculous.
By
That's
his
ridiculous.
peers.
So let me-
That's not
by his
I think it
unanimous.
was because they knew that he was about
Well,
to get
let
fired.
me
and
throw
why-
this.
has to be.
Let me throw this
Because
up.
Brad Stevens
So
didn't
what
even
we're
get one
saying
vote.
is, because Casey is the best coach in the history of the Raptors,
Yes.
we should respect that and he shouldn't go.
Absolutely.
Tyronn Lue is the best coach in the history of the Cavs. What do you think
That's-
about him?
that's-
Should
no,
we get
no,
him?
no, he's not.
What? He's
he's
the winningest
not.
coach in the history of the
You said best. I didn't. I said best.
That's what I'm
the
going
winningest
for.
coach in the history of the Raptors is a guy by the name of Lenny Wilkins.
No, that's a winning.
I'm talking
NBA's
with
coach,
the
not
team.
Raptors.
Not-
coach.
not-
With
not-
the
not the
Raptors
Raptors.
coach. I'm talking. So Spoelstra, winningest coach in the history of Miami Heat. Would you bring him in?
Equipment man. No.
But would you bring him in?
No.
But based on your criteria,
I played
just the
against. I
fact that
played against
Casey is one.
Spoelstra, and I wouldn't let Spoelstra coach the Milliken Mills team. I wouldn't let him coach that.
Me neither. I'm undefeated in 2
So
years.
guys, let's
I should try out for the Raptors head coaching job.
So this is great
I got a
discourse,
winning
guys. Let's,
percentage.
let's shift gears a little bit, and this is really good. Moving forward, so coaching changes aside, because obviously it's going to be a long off season. There's going to be other things the Raptors want to do. What are your thoughts? What other changes should the Raptors do? Because obviously it's not all about coaching. I'm sure we would all agree that there's certain things should change roster-wise and whatnot. What specifically should the Raptors look to change this summer? Player movement.
I would try to get DeMar some balls in playoffs
Man.
How do you light a fire under DeMar?
It's
with a new coach who can take the responsibility of lighting a fire under your star
I mean,
player.
guys, let me
Get
throw
rid
this
of
out
that
there
guy.
as well. I mean, this is no secret. You know, DeMar has issues and, you know, mental illness and things of that nature. Perhaps whatever is going on, and even Milo touched on it, family issues back home in L.A., who knows how long that's going to linger and if that's going to potentially affect him moving forward.
Or there's a guy in
These
San
are- these
Antonio
are
that's
issues.
kind of disgruntled right now in Kawhi Leonard, who I think would look
One of my
great
favorite
in a
players
Raptors
in the league.
uniform.
Yeah, but he's broken. Don't pick broken pieces. We've seen the best of DeMar.
Lowry was broken.
Yeah, I wouldn't-
KC has developed.
came here?
Yeah, but he's hit his ceiling now. And
But you don't take
Still a young
broken
guy
players.
that-
you know he's
I'd
I'm
give
sure
a
he's
guy
probably
5 years
healthier
to
than-
try to win us a
And
championship.
Bishop, you could
being
get that
broken.
woman to fix his teeth and everything.
no.
let me ask
he's
you guys.
broken.
Let me ask you guys a specific question.
But can I say this? You need to have Jamal McGlure step into a front office position and
I
sit
like
down
Jamal.
at the bench.
He's a good brother. He's a good brother.
That's what I'm saying.
But let
Jamal-
me ask you
I
guys
see
this
him
question.
making more noise than all of the coaches anyway, so he doesn't have to
At all
come to
those
the front
soca jams,
bench.
right?
Here's the thing, guys. Would you guys
Big
say
up
that
Jamal.
DeMar DeRozan
Trini man.
can DeMar DeRozan lead a Toronto Raptors team to the NBA Finals? Can DeMar be that guy, the leader of a team, the guy who you depend on in the clutch to take you to where you want to go, which is ultimately to compete, at least to make it to the finals and
I
compete
would
for
say
a
no.
championship?
I
I
would say
don't
no.
think he wants to be that guy.
No, and that's the problem. On this team, we have Lowry and DeRozan, and we've said these are our guys, and they're not. They were two great pieces for a superstar.
All-stars. They're not superstars.
They're all-stars. Now, DeRozan, and before everybody keeps dumping on him, the series before, he averaged 26.7 points.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay?
Problem
That's
wasn't with
it.
him.
That's what he averaged. His first game against the Cavs, 22.
That's right.
The second game, he got 24.
Right, and then
From
there,
no, not from there. In the third game, he was
Right.
benched in the third and fourth.
And that's when he
quarter.
scores his points.
what was his shooting percentage that game?
I don't-
Before-
but I
doesn't
don't care.
matter.
It was
Doesn't
Kobe
matter.
Bryant. That's horrible.
It doesn't
If
matter.
Shooting
gotta
professionals
shoot
in the
himself.
playoffs.
He's gotta
If
shoot
you
himself
play
back
in
into
the
the
game.
game.
He was shooting
Performance.
25%, and don't you come on
That
Toronto
was
talk-
his
what was
shit, don't
LeBron's?
play.
What was LeBron's shooting percentage yesterday?
Hold on,
What was
Craig.
Van Vliet's
Why didn't bench
before
him?
they put him in?
One thing I will not tolerate is blasphemy on this set. Did you just compare DeMar DeRozan to Kobe Bryant? Is that what you just did?
No,
Hey,
what I compared
a
is
mid-range-
you
a mid-range
let
killer?
guys shoot themselves. What he did was hang DeRozan out to dry and
I
make
agree.
him a skateboard.
I agree,
skateboard.
100%.
You don't do that, and then it is not surprising that in the next game this guy doesn't produce. You've just demoralized. He's a nice guy, so he
Exactly.
stood up there.
But
and
why?
he
But
took
why?
it.
But why would you mess with the lineup that's getting you back in the game? The
No,
Raptors
they
already
weren't getting
no,
it
but
back.
Casey-
Of course
How did they tie?
But that's what-
They
but that's
didn't
what you
get them
always
back
do.
in the team.
Listen.
At the time they made the decision, Fred Van Vliet was doing worse than DeRozan.
You still got to make
They
the
made a
change.
decision
They brought him
not to
back.
play him.
So
You
guys,
still got to make the
that-
change
Van Vliet
and
played
put him back in.
33 minutes and got 8 points total. We're talking about him like he's John
So
Stockton.
guys, that specific play aside, because obviously, yeah, that was game 3, and because a lot of that. In terms of what the Raptors should do, let me just throw out a few things out there, because I'm talking about in terms of player movement and whatnot.
It's gonna be hard to change players,
We
though.
have Kyle Lowry, who's owed
Contracts are
$64 million over the next 2 years. DeMar's owed $83 million over the next 3 years. Serge Ibaka is owed $45 million over the next 2 years. Out of these contracts, which is the easiest to move? Where can the Raptors possibly make a deal? Because I don't think with this particular core, it's going to cut it. Something's
Okay, let's
gotta
put it in
give.
context. Let's not get drunk about the money. The money we know with the last collective bargaining agreement has changed. People are making a lot more money. Oh, yeah. In the end, so the money. Let's not get so caught up with the amount of money. The question is, can we build a cohesive team that can compete with Philly, that can compete with Boston? You would be very foolish to destroy a chemistry core of individuals that we have. We played 10 guys this year. To destroy that and to try to start from the beginning would be minds who don't understand
Nobody's saying blow it
basketball.
up.
Retune.
Are you trying to tell me
But
that
then-
if you can't, you wouldn't, if you're the Raptors GM, you wouldn't explore a possibility of getting rid of Serge Ibaka?
I would see what
What
pieces
did he
fit.
do against?
But then again,
No,
you're
what
just-
value are you
what
really
is
gonna
Serge
get for
Ibaka?
Serge
Ibaka
What
at
is
this
he?
point?
What is he? He's a
Package deals,
He's a shot
three-way deals,
blocker.
any
He's
player
a
is
stretch
tradable.
four.
I get rid of Ibaka before.
To do what?
I could do anything.
It's not about
He's-
getting rid of. It's about putting a piece in place that can give you something better. He's a stretch four. He can block shots when he's doing his job.
When he's doing his job.
So
If-
therefore,
if is
what,
the word you're using.
what is the replacement for a decent stretch four shot blocker in
Somebody
the NBA?
who does his job every play.
So no, but you can't just throw pixie dust in the air and hope that somebody materializes. The question and the question from management is you have to find pieces.
Exactly.
Can you package DeRozan? DeRozan to me is the guy to package.
I
would
agree.
package
Now we're
DeRozan.
on the same page.
Because
I
you
agree.
can package DeRozan and get maybe 3 good pieces for DeRozan.
And what happens to his bromance with Lowry?
Well, Larry's a guy
business.
too at the
You gotta
end of
understand.
his
Then
career too.
then you're going to
We
blow
have-
up the whole
Oh,
lineup
look at
now.
the
No,
Morris
you're-
brothers. They broke
No, but
up.
if you
it's a
get rid of
business.
DeRozan, you're gonna Lowry's gonna be upset. So he wants to go now. So you're
Not necessarily.
But then you
It's
said
a business.
you don't want to blow up anything.
I wouldn't blow up
You
the
don't want
whole
to fire
team.
the coach.
Yeah.
So where do you start then?
So he's talking about you're talking about loyalty to a coach, but no loyalty to the leading scorer in Raptors history.
No, the leading scorers let you down. The coach didn't. The leading scorer let you down in the playoffs. These guys always fall apart in the playoffs. So you say you want a championship team, Masai, you have to bring guys who have the ability to have championship caliber in the playoffs. Or you have to put together a package of players. We see guys
So
like
hold on a
Marquise.
second.
He's performing in the playoffs.
You
Why
don't-
doesn't a
you-
team, why doesn't a team like
performing in the
Boston ever
playoffs.
fall apart in the playoffs? The
Because,
last couple
because
of
they
years.
have the supportive structure of a multitude of players. They don't have two guys to rely on.
But you don't.
Last
You
year they
don't
had
think,
Isaiah
have the
Thomas that they were
deepest-
relying on. They
deepest
still got to the
bench in
Eastern
the
Finals.
NBA.
Well,
Bishop,
listen.
you don't think
Which is good for the regular season.
Cleveland's
Doesn't work
defense
in the
had anything
playoffs.
to do
No.
with DeMar?
Speaking as a street ball superstar who nobody could stop.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
myself and a brother by the
Mirror,
name of
mirror
Lester
on the
Jones,
wall.
All right,
Exactly.
all right.
we used to tear you up. We used to tear you up.
Tear who
when
up?
me and my boy
I
Lester
beat you in
Jones
3 and
stepped,
3.
never in your life.
Yes, we did.
The devil
on
is
Young
a
Street.
liar.
Trust me. Have the T-shirt
I
to
am
prove it.
We are undefeated in 3 and 3 in the
No,
history
you are
of
not.
basketball.
You didn't
But
show
when
up
me
one
and
day.
Lester Jones, that's
All
right,
right.
when I didn't come. When me and Lester
Exactly.
Jones played, we were the best player. We're the best alphas in,
Oh,
in,
these
in the
Trini
gym.
boys can talk
The best
fart.
alphas in the gym. So when you
Trini's,
got
if
the
he-
best alphas in the gym, you can take everybody over. DeRozan and Larry, they're not the best alphas when the cream rises to the top in the playoffs.
You're telling me Cleveland's defense didn't do anything? The same
No.
Cleveland defense.
we're
that
4
went
tips
as a-
away from winning game 1.
Okay,
guys.
so we went as a Cleveland team. They made wages amongst each other for $100. You would owe them if you bit on one of DeMar's pump fakes up in the air.
Yeah.
The whole as a team, $100.
because now he's playing against the elite defenders in the
Okay,
playoffs.
and secondly, you have a coach that has both point guards on the floor, both undersized,
Yep.
and then you have DeMar bringing up the ball, coast to coast, stopping at the three-point line to do the same move every single
Yeah.
time. Every single time, the
Predictability.
He's your best-
predictability
He's your best guy.
that got
What do
him
you do?
shut down.
I agree.
So as a coach,
You have to make that.
What do
adjustment.
you
do?
got to make that change.
What do you do? You make a play. You say to
You
your
put in
all-star,
Fred Van
hey, that
Vliet."
move that you did for 82 games that you averaged 25 points, don't do that move no more.
Exactly.
Or you roll the dice on your guy.
So if you
It's one
always
or the
went to
other.
your right-hand side, and me as a coach sees that and slap somebody on your right-hand side, you're stopped for the game.
So, guys, this has been very, very engaging. There's so much to discuss, and obviously, we would agree there's so many things that the Raptors could do and perhaps will do in the offseason. Obviously, Masai.
Just a little bit of breaking news quickly.
We got some breaking
more.
news.
I got the Raptors insider. Don't worry.
Go ahead,
David Blatt is in town this week to interview for the Raptors job. Former
Yes.
Cleveland Cavalier coach Becky Hammond is actually going to be interviewing with us as well.
Thanks, Becky. No.
Yeah, it could be a courtesy invite. Thanks, Becky. They're re-engaging with Mike Budenholzer tomorrow
Becky
and Jerry
with the good
Stackhouse.
Jerry
a little bit
Stackhouse
this
as
week.
well.
I would like Jerry Stackhouse. He's
I-
in the system. He can make the tweaks necessary.
Jamal
And
McGlure.
he's tough.
And
a guy
he's
who
a
fought
tough-
his own teammates
Exactly.
and he fought the
I went to a
opponent.
game where Jerry dropped 50 on us once. It was nice.
So, guys, we'll certainly stay on top of things, and whatever breaks, we'll bring it to you here first. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. It's been a very
Thanks, guys.
engaging segment.
Thank you.
Toronto
Thank you.
Talk Sports and more.
Welcome back, Toronto Talk Sports. It's your boy Courtz, alongside the one, the only Tianna Rose.
Yes.
T, let's talk some baseball.
Let's do it.
So our Blue Jays, coming into this season, my expectations were pretty low. I really didn't think the Blue Jays were going to compete for a playoff spot this year. I really thought they would compete for about 500 baseball, and that's pretty much what they've done so far.
Yeah, we're right at a 512 right now. So far we've won about 20 games.
21 and 20 right now.
Yeah.
We won our first 13 games. We won 13 of our first 20 games to start the season, which is very uncharacteristic for the Blue Jays. Usually in April, we get off to a very slow start.
It's super rainy. It's like as soon as it's like we work with the weather. So in the beginning, it's like a slump, and we're like, "What happened? We acquired all these guys," and it's like, "Oh, by May, June, the patio. Oh, okay."
Exactly,
Now we're
exactly.
back in, and now we're ready to win it.
Exactly. Since then we've gone 8 and 13. So we've, like you said, we've been 21 and 20. So we're right about 500 ball. And to be honest, with the roster that we have, it really hasn't surprised me much. They've pretty much met my expectations so far. So what are your thoughts? What else do you think about the Blue Jays this season?
Well, the thing that's the biggest thing right now is the fact that like we have so many guys on the DL. Troy Tulowitzki, like still
loss,
every
yeah.
single year, like since we got him. I think the first year he was doing so well. We're like, oh my God, Tulo, everyone was buying the jerseys, and like every year thereafter, it's been like consistent injury.
Never been on the field.
Exactly. And then we really do need to get Stroman back. We have been struggling with pitching.
But yeah, I know Stroman's on the DL right now, but what has he done this season? He's what, 0-4, 0-5?
Yeah,
he's been absolutely garbage all season.
Yeah, but it's basically been our entire pitching roster
Yep.
that has been garbage all season. So it's like, what do you do? Like, who do you pick up from? Do you go to the minors? Like, at this point, if I'm Ross Atkins, would you think to go to the minors to maybe bring someone in to kind of help with our pitching issues?
What I think we need to do, I think Marcus Stroman needs to pitch like how he pitched in the World Baseball Classic last year when he won MVP. That's the Stroman we need.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's like he just bought this like beautiful home in Florida.
Yep.
Like you see him floss and live in the dream, and I'm like, yo, I want to be Stroman. What's going on here? So I don't know if that's getting to his head, but you see him training in the off season. You see him putting in the hours and the work and the effort. So it's like, how come that's not translating onto the field?
Yep.
And then another really cool thing I was looking at was when you look at Russell Martin. Russell Martin hasn't been producing to the same extent.
Yes.
And then I didn't recognize that Russell Martin's 35 years old. Number one.
He's been around for a while.
He's been around for his end. It's kind of like he ended at the Jays, but he ended as soon as we started to do super well and we got that wild card seed.
Yep.
So it's like, but since then we've dropped down. It's like, how do we get back to that point? Interesting stat that I found out earlier was that Luke Miley basically like is doing better offensively, and they're both back catchers. He's doing better offensively than Russell Martin. So it's like, how do we get those guys who are our key guys that are below our superstar Josh Donaldson to kind of be putting in the work and be putting up those numbers that we need?
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't think the Blues are built to compete, especially with the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Just your thoughts. Where do you actually see the Blue Jays finishing off this season?
Well, last year we finished 4th in the AL East. We were 76 and 86 for this season. I would at least like to clinch a wild card berth, but by looking at what else is going on in the MLB right now, I don't see it.
I don't think so.
I was looking at the rest of the American League, and I was like, oh, we're not doing too bad. Scroll. I was like, oh no.
Looking at what the Blue Jays have, I don't think they're going to be competing for a wild card. I love my Jays, but realistically, I don't think they have what it takes. Let's talk about the other teams in the American League East, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. I mean, the Red Sox are just unbelievable this season. They have the triple Ps, Price, Porcello, Pomeranz, they have Sale, Kelly, Kimbrel in the dugout, not to mention Mookie Betts, JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts. This is pretty much an all-star team here. How do we compete with these guys?
And we don't, because you can see how when David Price was pitching on Saturday, he was diagnosed with carpal tunnel. Like, how is it possible that someone's diagnosed with carpal tunnel before playing us? He rests one game, comes back, all of a sudden he's like perfect against us. It's like, how is that possible? It's like, at least when I saw that, I was like, okay, cool, we can take this series at least. We won one game.
Yep.
You know,
well, then we also have the Yankees. They were one game away last year from making it to the World Series.
Yeah.
Then what do they do in the offseason? They only signed the reigning National League MVP in Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
And these guys recently they've been as good as it gets.
Yeah, it's basically they've been trying to really push him to that superstar status, and I feel like the Yankees kind of, not that they fell off, but they weren't as pristine as you're accustomed to seeing the Yankees being. And I think with that addition and seeing how they've been playing so far offensively, it's like that they're reclaiming. It's not like they ever lost their spot, but they're re-solidifying that yes, we are the Yankees. Yes, we are coming now. Like, let's get ready. Once the offseason's here or when the playoffs hit, it's going to be a no-brainer. Between them and the Red Sox, it'll be really exciting baseball.
Definitely. So we can definitely agree that the American League East will definitely be a showdown between the Yankees and the Red Sox for a race to first place.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, T, thanks for your input. This has been your MLB update, Toronto Talk Sports, and more.
Toronto Talk Sports and more. It's your boy Milo with the 2018 TTS NHL Playoff and Leafs Roundup. Well, let's start with the Western Conference Finals, where Canada's last remaining hope for a Stanley Cup, the Winnipeg Jets, got off to a great start by defeating the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2 in Game 1 on Saturday night. I really hope this goes well for the Jets and the city of Winnipeg, because if it doesn't, then the city will go back to its regular schedule of depression. Dustin Byfuglien and Mark Scheifele led the way with a goal and an assist each, while Brad Wheeler assisted on 3 of the 4 goals for the Jets. Game 2 goes Monday night in Winnipeg before Games 3 and 4 shift to Las Vegas, where I'm sure the Jets will go out, get hammered, and gamble their salaries away, since there's absolutely nothing to do in Winnipeg.
Oh, boy.
In the Eastern Conference, how about those Washington Capitals, or as Donald Trump would call them, the huge team that I created and put together? They are up 2-0 in their best-of-7 series against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the biggest surprise is that both wins came on the road for the Caps. Alex Ovechkin scored his 10th goal of the playoffs in Game 2, while Braden Holtby stopped 33 of the 35 shots he faced in Washington's 6-2 victory on Sunday night. The series now shifts to Washington, where the Capitals will look to avoid what their fellow teams, the Wizards, Redskins, and Nationals, always look to avoid, Donald Trump's phone calls. But really, the Caps will look to avoid a letdown and try to put this series away in front of their home fans and advance to the Stanley Cup Final. Game 3 goes Tuesday night. Finally, the Toronto Maple Leafs hired 32-year-old Kyle Dubas to be the team's 17th general manager. It'll be his first gig as GM of an NHL franchise. He was the former GM of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, who nobody knows or cares about. But let's hope he can help take this Leafs team to new heights, and if he can't, don't feel bad, as he won't be the first Kyle to fail for a Toronto franchise.
Wow.
Yes, I'm talking to you, Lowry. This has been your TTS 2018 NHL Playoff and Leafs Roundup, and I'll be back next week as the NHL Stanley Cup Finals could be set. But then again, since Washington might be participating, I'm sure Trump will find some way to screw that up too. Toronto Talk Sports and more.
Hez here, joined by the lovely Miss T. Rose.
What up, what up, what
We
up?
got Greg, Bishop, Wendell, and
Blessings,
Craig
blessings,
back
all.
with us again for another segment. So guys, the Eastern Conference Finals began on Sunday afternoon in Boston. Game number 1, Celtics versus Cavs. The hometown Celtics started strong and ended even stronger, going on to a 25-point victory, 108-83, winning their 8th straight game at home in these playoffs, a perfect 8-0, holding LeBron James to 15 points, 31% shooting, 0 of 5 from 3, 7 turnovers, and we don't even want to mention his plus-minus because that was just off the charts.
Minus 32.
Yeah, minus 32.
Tied for
There,
his
you
worst
said
game.
it. You said
His
it.
worst playoff game.
Yeah, this was bad. This was really, really bad. So guys, let's be honest. What were your thoughts going into the series? So before Game 1 happened, what was your series prediction, and has that changed as a result of Game 1?
I didn't think that LeBron James would make it out of the first round.
Oh, okay.
I was extremely disappointed that the Toronto Raptors folded up like an old.
So
lady
forget about the
spread
Raptors.
socks.
I know
And
you're hurting,
moving
Bishop.
forward-
I know you're hurting.
Moving forward, I don't even care about this topic, but moving forward.
Stay focused.
I thought that LeBron was in a mold of legacy making, that he would not allow these random selection of scrubs.
You talking about the Celtics?
That's what I'm talking about. And
It's a
this
heavy
Random
statement.
selection of script.
random select and the statistician coach allow him to get his
Bradley
butt
Stevens.
whooped in Game 1.
Same statistic coach that came up with a game plan to shut down LeBron and the rest of the Caps. That's the same one you're
Ain't no
talking about?
real game plan. The game plan
Well,
simply was
what do you mean no
LeBron
real
had
game
15
plan?
points.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's better than what
LeBron
Casey
didn't
came
have
with,
45, he had 15.
Apparently, they found out that LeBron likes to go left.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so the Raptors didn't get that memo.
No,
No.
I guess when he beat KG and Pierce and Rondo, they didn't know that either. But so you're trying to compare this Boston team to that Boston team.
difference is-
This selection of scrubs
Difference is
has
the
no
Celtics
chance
had a man
of truly.
step up and say, "I'm not number 1. I'm the second best defender of LeBron."
LeBron had 15.
So guys,
points.
back on track here. So what were your thoughts going in? Craig, what did you think going into who did you have to win this, or who do you still have to win the series? Boston or Cleveland?
I still have Cleveland to win.
Okay, how many games? What's your prediction?
I think it could go to 7.
Oh,
And I
gotta
think-
go to 7.
And I think LeBron's in trouble if he has to keep going because he's already taking sets off defensively right now.
Do you think he was tired in Game 1 yesterday?
Absolutely. It's the first time he's ever gone 82 games.
Did you say sets? Is this a tennis match? What's going on here?
Super dead. Oh my god.
The man said sets. Okay.
Listen,
It's
the
a
man,
set, a set.
the man jump
It's
over the
called
net
quarter.
and trip on it. Trip on his racket.
Breaking
I'm
out the
talking plays.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
talking
he doesn't
quarters.
take quarters. He takes plays off.
He's taking plays
because
off.
he's literally tired.
He's behind the play all the time on defense.
What? So
He's coasting.
this is a 5-man on 5-man sport. You don't have to. You can take plays off on defense.
But
He's
nobody
the-
else is doing
he's
it.
the
Everybody
main
else
guy.
is running up
But-
so they don't get yelled at by LeBron.
No,
But that's the
they-
thing. You realize that when Cleveland was playing, they weren't doubling up on him. It was they played man to man, and then even when they tried to incorporate his own, there was no help defense whatsoever.
Who? You mean Boston Boston wasn't.
I'm talking about Cleveland. There was no help D. Like you see how when they played us, they played Toronto.
Yeah,
We were. It was a failed attempt at defense, but at least we were trying to close out. We were trying to at least trap them in the corners. Like there was none of that. It was literally each man playing each man. If Markieff Morris was going up, no one coming over to the help his side and force him.
That's what it should be.
Yeah,
You
that
got
is-
to man up and take your man.
But
Have some pride.
they rotated guys
But
on
you can
LeBron.
take take rotations, but you got to stay with that
Absolutely.
guy.
And Marcus
Toronto
Morris
just collapsed. All 5 guys collapsed to the hole. On
So
every
you
single
think
drive.
those set of scrubs, those set of non-all-stars,
Those young bucks.
those set of individuals who
What do they have
nobody
to
will
lose?
remember,
What do
their
they have to
mama
lose?
don't even know their name.
What do they have to
It's
lose?
gonna stop LeBron James in a 7-game series.
I
He
don't
had
think so.
15 points.
He just
That's the
finished saying
difference.
He's taking Cleveland. Well, you're arguing with the wrong set.
No,
here,
I'm
bud.
just saying that I'm not going to put a lot of
think
weight
Cleveland's gonna
on
take
game
it.
one.
I think they're going to
No,
take
but-
it, but could
It's fair to say
Celtics
you have the
take it?
Cavs winning the
Absolutely.
series.
I don't got
Coach
I got no horse in
LeBron
this race.
James
I got
will
no
come
horse
up
in this
with a
race,
game
but I
plan.
just don't see Boston beating LeBron. I'll say it like that. I'm not picking
Okay.
nobody because I already got my team.
Now, having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if Celtics win. Right? They have the mentality.
They
and
have
if
nothing to lose right
they
now.
have
Exactly.
nothing to
They
lose,
can
and they're not
stop
scared.
the
The
Well,
Raptors
they're
are
well-
worse.
I agree.
Here.
They're well coached.
I agree.
Yeah.
And they got thugs.
Listen,
like
can
you
we
said.
can we
They're
can
not
we
scared of
stop
anything.
gushing over Brad Stevens? Like, why are we gushing over? You know,
'Cause he's winning.
Why are you
This is
mad?
this is the foolishness that's got
They're
the
their
beard.
two best
This-
players.
This is
You
what
do
has the
realize
beard
that.
winning the MVP this year. Because they gushed over him last year because he played so well and Russell
James
had his
Harden.
triple-double,
Yeah.
right? And so now Russell gets a triple-double again, and we just want to give it to the beard. This is what you're going to do with Stevens next year. Next year, Stevens is already the coach of the year next year already.
Fair.
Because of how you
Fair.
guys are gushing over this guy. This guy is not the best coach in the doggone
When they were
NBA.
talking about LeBron going on Mount Rushmore after he beat the Raptors, give me a break, man.
I agree.
Hold on a
They were
second.
talking about,
you
like-
just said this is a group of what you call them?
Scrubs.
Scrubs. That came and beat who?
They beat the Cavs.
Okay, so they did it without the
LeBron.
coaching.
Yeah,
of Brad
exactly. They beat
Stevens, is what
LeBron.
you're saying.
LeBron had 15 points.
A bunch of
And
scrubs
why
without
was
a
that?
coach. Yeah, definitely. Boston showed Cleveland that they're not scared. And that's a
agree.
big step in a 7-game series.
Do you have Boston to win the series?
I have Boston to push Cleveland to the limit. To me, it's like he said, if LeBron is tired, that's a difference. I
You're on
don't
the
think
fence.
anybody
Answer
can
the
really
question.
stop
Answer the
LeBron.
question.
LeBron get
Answer the
tired?
question.
If LeBron gets all the calls and goes hard to the hole instead of looking for his other teammates, you're not going to stop him. Boston won't stop him. They
But
don't
this-
have
This is
anybody
why
to stop
Scarborough
him.
guys don't go to
Well,
offset
hold on, hold on, hold
We
on.
did.
I'm
I've been to
dead.
offside side.
I'm dead. That's funny as shit.
Awkward in the house.
Okay, but
the
listen.
Barons.
I just took my team
The
to
legacy
offside
of
this year,
Toronto.
my friend. So
But remember, if you look at that game, though, like Cleveland's scoring was 4 for 26 beyond the arc. So they had a terrible shooting game.
Right.
Compared to the Raptors, like every shot they put up dropped.
Right.
So if they were to continue.
Because they were open against the Raptors.
No.
They're
LeBron made some,
they're running them out of the
made
three-point
some
line.
amazing shots in that game. LeBron, you had to bow down to him how he played against the Raptors. It's not the same scenario. He's now got to produce a performance that it's not a LeBron-like performance. We don't
No.
expect LeBron to post up and throw up fadeaways from behind the glass
yeah,
on a
that's
regular
the defense.
basis.
LeBron can drive, and instead of Lowry, DeRozan, and the other guys all coming towards the basket and leaving their guys wide open on the three-point line, Ashton Kutcher or whatever his name is, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, they're wide open
So-
because the whole defense is huddling around JV, who doesn't go outside because he's protecting the
Scarborough.
hole.
All right, so guys, real
tell me
quick.
who's the defensive stoppers on Boston in the paint? Like Ibaka, like JV. Tell me who's going to
Like
stop
Ibaka.
people on Boston.
But if they don't get to the paint, you don't need to stop them in the paint.
Okay, amazing. You said
LeBron
you
didn't
said
get into the
nobody.
paint.
Nobody. You said nobody.
Marcus, make sure he kept him
Didn't do
outside.
anything. Absolutely.
Right?
Great team defense.
Great team defense didn't allow
Boxed
LeBron
him
to
out.
penetrate and kick out.
Facts.
And even if he did, the Boston defense didn't collapse like
Yeah.
the
And you
Toronto
got some
Raptors.
long, quick guys like Tatum in there. That
Exactly.
Can
Yeah.
cause
So-
problems.
Leading
so guys,
scorer,
so guys,
as a rookie.
As
Come on.
I mentioned from the top, guys, Boston 8-0 at home. Quickly, guys, very quickly, who do we expect to win Game 2? Are we calling the Cavs to even up the series in Game 2, which goes Tuesday night
in Boston?
in Boston?
No, they ain't winning.
Nah,
in
I'm going for
Boston.
Boston.
So
They're not winning
Boston,
in
we
Boston.
see Boston
It's a must
taking a
for Cleveland.
2-0.
Yeah.
It's a must for
It's a must
Cleveland.
for yeah.
They're
Do you
The
think
playoffs-
they're going to win?
I do, because if LeBron doesn't want to lose, it's
Yeah.
going to be hard to make him lose unless you said he's tired.
Yeah.
Playoff series, statistically,
Ask Adam
at
Silver.
home, Boston's not going to lose at home. and the second game, they're gonna probably win the
That's
second.
So
what
they'll
they said
go
about
into
the Raptors,
Cleveland,
didn't they?
They're going to go into Cleveland down 2, and LeBron's going to do his thing at home. That's
If they go into Cleveland down 2, this is done.
It's done, man.
It's done.
Yeah.
Come on.
They have to, and if LeBron does not get up
why
and
they-
carry
you
them
know
on
why
his
it's
back
done?
this game, it's done.
Because Brad Stevens can make in-game changes and avoid
my
Tyronn Lue struggled
Bradley
that. He went big
Stevens
towards
for
the
the
end,
win.
like,
The guy,
Hail him up, hail
guy-
him up.
Remember that.
The guy didn't make his gym team, okay? And now we're making such big noise.
All right, so guys, once
about
again, game 2 goes
Bradley
Tuesday
Stevens.
night, May 15th, 8:30. So we'll see what happens. Let's transition, guys. Game 1 of the Western Conference Final between the defending champ Golden State Warriors
Finals.
and the number 1 seed in the West, the Houston Rockets, goes tonight, May the 15th. And the game, of course, would have already settled by the time this podcast airs on Tuesday the 16th. That's okay. Guys, this, and I'm sure we would all agree, is likely the most anticipated conference finals, definitely in recent years.
Loaded.
Foreman versus Ali kind of thing, right? What are our predictions? Who do we got? Rockets, Dubs. Talk to me.
I got Golden State in 7.
Okay.
I believe that Houston is going to put up a heck of a fight.
All right.
I think there's just too much pedigree. One of the people that we are underestimated this entire playoffs is a guy by the name of Klay Thompson. Without Stephen Curry in the lineup, Klay Thompson was the man. And so now you have basically 3 legendary. I'm not talking about that clown Green either. I'm talking about Klay.
Oh, boy.
Mama call him Klay. I'm going to call him Klay. I'm talking about Kevin Durant, and I'm talking about Steph.
Yep.
And then the supporting cast of individuals like Green and those. It's just too much.
So you have the Warriors
too
in
much
how
pedigree.
many games?
I've got the Warriors in 7 because Houston, has
win
one of the
on
best
the
teams.
road in Game 7.
They
Okay.
have one of the best coaches. Houston has one of the best coaches in the NBA right now.
But he's no Brad Stevens.
Bad-
But listen, Spencer, I just
he's
want
better than Brad
I want to
Stevens.
I
Yeah,
want
he
to
is,
I want to
probably.
draw your attention to something just to kind of refresh your memory. Do you recall? I don't remember the date, but definitely months ago, sometime at the beginning of the season, you and I placed a bet online for how far.
I would never bet.
How far? Oh,
got-
let me call you out right
I got
here
the
live
load.
on
I got
Toronto
the
Talk
load on
Sports
my
and more.
side.
Myself and my dear friend Bishop Wendell here, we placed a bet months ago on how far the Golden State Warriors would go in the playoffs. And the winner was, we said whoever loses has to buy the winner a BBB, so Big Baller Brand gear. Does
you've
that ring a
got-
bell?
you've
So
got
hold on,
it.
hold on,
You've got it.
hold on.
You've got
The
it.
loser would get
Hold
that.
on.
You've got
So-
to come to my church and get baptized again because
Yes, Bishop.
you're a liar and the truth ain't in you.
And I do
We can
I do
pull it up,
believe
you know.
I do believe I have the screenshot. So basically,
Yeah,
I
you can
said
pull it
that
up.
the Warriors were coming out of the West and they would represent the West in the finals.
And what did I say?
You didn't even pick another team. You just said that there's no way that the Warriors are winning the Western Conference.
That doesn't
and now you're
sound.
saying,
That doesn't sound something as eloquent
right. So
and
I'm going to
articulate
pull
as
up that.
I would
I'm going
normally
to pull
say.
up that screenshot. I'm going to post it online. But anyway,
It was,
I
it was
can't even
probably a
spell those
guy
two
from
words.
Scarborough who
Can't even
had
spell
my
those two
page.
words.
I do
It was
look
a guy
for,
from Scarborough.
I do
Big
look
up the
forward
East
to
End,
getting
guys.
some Big Baller Brand gear. Craig, what's
Bishop,
going
you're
on?
wearing your Lonzos right now?
I'm down.
Craig,
I'm
talk to
down
us.
with
What
Big
are your
Baller
thoughts?
Brand.
What are your thoughts on the series?
Golden State's gonna win this, and I'm not even picking 7. So I mean,
Okay.
something's got to give. I mean, with KD in the playoffs, they're what 24-6.
Okay.
That's 24-3. That's all.
Oh, wow.
That's how much they've lost in playoffs with KD playing. But on the other side, it's 50-5 with Harden, Paul, and
Clint.
Capella.
Yeah.
Capella. That's regular season. But this is playoffs. So we haven't seen playoff Chris Paul yet.
Right.
And we haven't seen playoff James Harden yet.
Do you guys notice something?
They're
Like,
gonna get
But you're
tested.
still giving it to Golden State.
No, they're going to be a fight.
I disagree.
I think it's going to be a fight.
I'm giving it to Houston.
Go ahead,
because
Greg, go
I
ahead.
think the deciding factor is going to be Capella.
Interesting.
I don't
The
think
X
they can
factor.
have an
Solid guy.
answer
He's
for
solid.
that guy.
He's
He's
solid.
above the rim. He's blocking shots. So they
I
just
got
like
I got an answer for
But
him.
what's
We
he
don't
gonna
got-
what's he
we
gonna
don't-
what's he gonna
I
do
got
with the
an answer.
Draymond kick
And
to the nuts?
I'm expecting
Hey,
Kalen.
that's about it. But when you
JaVale
have
McGee.
Please.
JaVale McGee. Keon
I'd rather
Doolin's
have
going
his-
to play.
I'd rather have
They're going to
his
bring in
mom
Keon
or her
Dooling.
twin sister.
Yeah, your mom's
right?
fine.
They
Mom's
got they
fine.
have more balls than their son did.
But Lord have mercy.
He's
Let us
but
pray.
he's JaVale's too hectic. He's crazy. Capella's playing the best basketball of any center Houston's had in how many years?
He's the best
above
center in the
rim,
NBA.
He's blocking shots. They don't have to come down so they can protect the 3-point arc. So they got Ariza to cover Clay, which is nice. That's height on height. Who's going to run around and get tired with Harden all day? And like you said, we have not seen Chris Paul playoff yet. And this is something I just hope he doesn't get injured, like I said in the first 5 minutes. Because if he comes to play with Capella, just think back in the days when he used to have somebody doing the exact same thing, how they destroyed everybody.
He restored my faith in Scarborough schools right there with that intelligent response.
Oh boy, Tianna, what do you got to say?
I kind of have to agree with him, but I feel as though the X factor for Golden State would be how Houston D's up KD.
Okay.
Because it's
Absolutely.
like, you know what I mean? I think that's going to be the biggest factor, is realizing how do they take care of that whole KD.
But can he be stopped?
They can't.
Who can guard
That's
KD?
what I'm
have to
saying.
give up.
Like,
And if they guard him,
They can't.
will they be able to guard him and Thompson?
exactly.
Because you can't
And
guard.
Steph can shoot from anywhere.
Anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
that's-
Having Capella helps because they don't have to all Toronto Raptorize around the JV to try to protect the whole.
Stop talking about my team, man.
So if you got 4 guys who can run the circle outside and protect the arc, and have him in there making nobody from Golden State is driving with him in there.
Who's going to cover?
But let
She's
me
right.
say this,
Who's gonna
guys, and
cover KD?
I'll throw this out there. Do we all agree that the Warriors, or sorry, the Rockets have more room for error, or less room for error, sorry.
Yes.
yes.
How many games so far in the postseason have James Harden and CP3 both played well at the same time? Maybe 2, possibly 3 at the most.
I think they're
usually you'll
fighting.
have one guy going off and the other guy very silent. They're going to need to both collectively for 5, 6, 7 games, as we
Chris
said,
Paul can
bring
play
it.
number 2
And I don't know
move
if
the
that's
ball.
going to happen.
No, you see, the
The
problem. with-
Warriors can afford to have a couple of guys
have you
off
watched the
games.
chemistry with
Definitely.
them too? Those 2 guys are very ball dominant.
I
they,
agree.
They are both alphas. They're both leaders, and you can see the
So far it's
ongoing
worked in the regular
fighting
season.
going on. Sometimes even on the court. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to share the ball. James Harden needs to have the ball in his
Yeah.
hand.
It's hard for any
But
team with
Chris
James
Paul feels he's still adjusting to how am I going to get the ball to Harden and distribute. So that's going to be a very
You made a
major
great
thing
point in
to
terms
watch.
of distribution, because the Warriors, I believe, they average, probably close to 30 assists a game.
they're crazy.
And the Rockets aren't anywhere close to that. A lot of one-on-one ball, a lot of isolation stuff, ball dominant.
But we talk about
Ghetto
offense,
ball.
but where these 2 teams are great is the defense and the amount of switches. They make more switches defensive than any other
You can't
teams.
say defense in the same sentence as James Harden. It's not going to.
But
It's not flowing.
as a team, they do. And what they do
That's
on
because
offense,
they have Capella.
Absolutely. But what Harden did when they played them last time in January, they just keep switching and switching and switching with pick and roll until they get him isolated with Steph Curry on it. And that's what they're going to do. In the
exactly.
last 4 minutes. But
that's coaching.
Last time they played, absolutely.
That's a
They
coach's
did it
plan.
6 of 7 plays.
Right.
In the last 4 minutes of the game, trying to get him on Curry. Curry can't handle him. Clay can't handle him. So I look for Keon Dooling to get some game.
Keon Dooling?
Why is his
Who's
name in this
Keon Dooling?
conversation? Why, listen, turn his mic off right now.
Defensively.
Did you just say
Watch
Keon
him.
Dooling?
Did you say the right
Is
name?
that your cousin or something? You trying to give him some airtime?
He's from Brampton. He has a roti shop. And if you want bacon shark,
That's what I
I'll
think.
give him your card.
Lord,
man.
Keon
Lord.
Dooling.
The
Where'd
brother
that name
brought up
come from?
Keon
Tianna,
Dooling.
what-
So hold on, guys. If you guys give me your percentage, if you would say 2018 NBA Finals, Boston and Houston, what's the percentage of that being possible?
That's a good conversation. I would say
Boston
25%.
Boston versus
Boston and Houston.
25%.
Boston and Houston.
25%?
25%.
Well, in my opinion, I would say 0. But
I think you got a 50-50 chance of that
No,
happening.
25.
25. I mean,
You're not going to
25.
bet against LeBron, and you're not going to bet against a legacy of Kerr, and these 3 monsters
50-50
sitting
any way
there.
you look at it.
That's too much. I mean, that bet, I'll take that. I'll take 50-50
But guys, wouldn't it
on that
be
anytime.
amazing if you had the same 2 teams in the finals 4 straight years? That has never happened. That would
That's
be
what you
like,
call it. That's what you call it boring, actually.
It's boring. I'm tired of seeing it. That's why I'm asking.
and we know the results,
That's why I say
especially,
50-50.
If that happens, LeBron's getting a beat.
especially without
Right?
Kyrie Irving
Yeah.
this
No,
year.
Yeah.
if LeBron gets there as lethargic as he's looking, it will be a beatdown.
Oh, big time. So once again, guys, game 1, Monday, May 14th, Toyota Center in Houston. Should be a great series. I want to thank all of you guys for coming to the studio and join us. You brought a lot of positive vibes, a lot of great conversations. Before we officially close things off, Bishop Wendell, what do you got to share with us?
I just wanted to tell everybody about the Toronto High School Basketball Hall of Fame, a nonprofit organization that I put together. We're looking for a board, hopefully individuals who played high school basketball who can elect and select some of the best high school basketball players in the history of basketball and basically revere some of the greats that came before this new generation and this generation included. So hopefully get us on Facebook, Toronto High School Basketball Hall of Fame. Let's organize something and put
Was
something
that what
together.
we would search for in Facebook?
Toronto High School Basketball
Hall of Fame. Awesome. So we'll check that out. Thank you for sharing that. Once again, Gregory,
Thank you.
Wendell,
Thank you.
Craig, guys, thanks for joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Toronto Talk Sports.
Good luck
and
for all your
more.
futures. Eh?
Toronto Talks.
Well, thanks again for joining us in the studio, Craig, Wendell, and Gregory. It was such a great privilege to get your input. And to our wonderful listeners, thanks again for tuning in. Our next episode will air Thursday, May 24th. Until then, we hope you all have a great week and a very safe long weekend. Toronto Talk Sports and more. For the love of the six, let's connect.
Thank you for tuning into Toronto Talk Sports and more. Please subscribe to our podcast via Apple iTunes or Google Play Store. And stay tuned for new episodes, prizes, and surprises at TorontoTalkSports.com.